69% of Canadians, 69%, 69% of Canadians have a favorable view of the European Union, compared to 34% who view the US favorably. That's because Canadians have been brainwashed and their brains have been turned to mush. Being right next to the United States, having this big, big, beautiful border with the United States is just an unimaginable blessing to Canada. Being right next door to the biggest economy in the world. It's incredible good fortune for everybody who lives here. Obviously, how many countries would like that? Hey, guess what's on either side? There's oceans. Oceans. It's incredibly beneficial to Canada to be right next door to this massive economy, the biggest economy in the world, right? A sane government would look for ways to maximize the benefit from that. Sane people would recognize that, right? Hey, we're not right next door to the European Union, and guess what? They're a basket case. It says here, might explain why close to half of Canadians say they would support joining the EU. Really? We're right next door to the biggest economy in the world. Surprising share of Canadians support EU membership. New polling suggests Canadians are rapidly warming up to the idea of joining the European Union from March 11th, 2025. Amidst the newly found trade war with the United States, Canadians have been looking for alternative solutions to our ongoing economic woes. While there are plenty of ways we could reduce our reliance on the Americans, some Canadians have started looking across the Atlantic. A new question has emerged. Should Canada seek membership in the European Union? New polling from Abacus Data suggests Canadians are more supportive of the idea than one might think. So, Team Canada right now, right? All these politicians pretending that, like, I don't know what they think, that Trump's going to invade Canada or something, but talking about we're never going to be the 51st state, blah, blah, blah. We'll never give up our sovereignty. We'll never give up our sovereignty. 5 seconds later, let's give up our sovereignty. Let's join the EU. EU sovereignty is such a big issue right now. Let's see how that would go with the EU. Let's see. I asked, in what ways does the EU override the sovereignty of its member states? Tariffs, immigration, etc. The European Union overrides the sovereignty of its member states in several ways, as member states delegate certain powers to EU institutions to achieve collective goals like economic integration, political stability, and coordinated policymaking. So, political stability, that translates as draconian censorship of dissent, and just deciding that, well, we don't like a party that a country's elected, so we're just not going to let that happen. Let's see, tariffs and trade, how it overrides sovereignty. The EU operates as a customs union, meaning member states surrender control over their external trade policies. Well, we won't even have to worry about it anymore. Just join the EU. I'm sure they'll do well by us. The European Commission negotiates trade agreements and sets common external tariffs for all 27 member states. So do Canadians want sovereignty or not? Because it kind of sounds like maybe they don't. Individual countries cannot impose their own tariffs on imports from non-EU countries or negotiate bilateral trade deals independently. So is this what Canadians want? Or do they know? Here's the thing. They have no idea, right? They just think, oh, I'll just be able to travel freely around Europe. That's what they're thinking. They don't know about any of this. They don't know that this would actually be giving up your sovereignty. That's why Brexit happened. Immigration. Now, you may have heard quite a bit about immigration in the EU and how Europeans hate it. They hate the immigration policies there, but there doesn't seem to be anything they can do about it because they're part of this EU thing, and apparently there's no democracy there anymore. And you better not talk about it on social media because you're going to get a knock on the door from the police. Literally, that will happen. How it overrides sovereignty. Immigration is a shared competence, but the EU exerts significant influence, especially on external borders and asylum policy. Example, Hungary's attempt to block asylum seekers during the 2015 migrant crisis clashed with EU rules, leading to legal battles with the European Court of Justice. The ECJ ruled in 2020 that Hungary's border policies violated EU law. But Canada's never going to give up its sovereignty, except to the EU because a teleprompter reader on the evening news told them to. Essentially, what will happen on immigration is that the EU will just say, you're taking in 5 million people from Syria now, and do it. And if you don't, we're going to make it hard for you. And everybody's going to call you far right neo Nazis, white supremacists, whatever, like with Hungary. Legislation and regulation, how it overrides sovereignty. The EU can pass laws, regulations, and directives that are binding on member states, often superseding national legislation. So you're going to have a bunch of people that you've never voted for deciding how you live in your country. Canada will never give up its sovereignty unless we join the EU, and then we're fine with that. Then that's awesome. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.